All right, boys. Well, we got a big announcement since the last show. A future Hall of Famer announced his retirement after this year. Anaheim Ducks legend Ryan Getzlaf. He's going to retire after his 17th season. The team announced last Tuesday. He's the Ducks' all-time leading scorer in the regular season and playoffs. Only 11 other guys have captained the same team for 10 years and scored 1,000 points. He's one of 13 guys with 2 Olympic golds and a Stanley Cup. He's also won a World Junior Gold and a World Cup Gold. 88th all-time on the NHL points list, 51 on the assist list. There was a clip of Corey Perry. I think we should roll that. Corey Perry, a hard guy to play against. Bean Bassett out there, but he also showed a soft side talking about Getzlaff. Go ahead, roll that.
He's meant everything. We were drafted together. We came in together. We didn't live together, but we might as well have. We did everything together when we first came in, and to see what he's done in that organization, to put his stamp on it, and to finally call it a career, it sucks, but things come to an end. I couldn't ask for more from him because he got me to where I am, and he made a lot of passes, and I put him in the open net. Getsy, everything that you've done, like I just said, from a family man to a close friend. Congratulations on a great career, and good luck with everything.
I mean, it just shows you how much Getzlaff meant to his teammate. He was emotional in his press conference as well. Whit, you obviously played with him. We're going to go to you for first comment here.
I'll tell you what. You know what perfectly describes Ryan Getzlaff is something that just happened about a day or two ago. And that was in the game in Carolina, and Svechnikov was running around and running some guys over, really just kind of playing a physical, hard-style game. And Getzlaff, who's announced his retirement, went out and on the next faceoff was in his face saying, let's go, calling him out. And he ended up kind of really causing a stir because over near the board something happened. Svechnikov wasn't willing to fight him. But it's like, that's a little thing, and maybe obviously there's a million better things Getzlaff's done in his career, but it just shows like this guy is a competitor. A killer on the ice, somebody who would do anything to win, and no matter what, even in a game that doesn't matter as his career's winding down, is still willing to fight somebody who he thought took some liberties on his teammates. So I've said it before, if this guy played for the Rangers or in the East Coast, he'd be talked about way more. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame no matter where he plays. But when I think of the Anaheim Ducks, I think of Ryan Getzlaff. And I think a lot of people may say Kariya or Solani, but for me, maybe it's because I get to play with him and see what he was able to accomplish. It's Ryan Getzlaff. It's like, has there ever been, and I've talked about Saskatchewan before, when you think of a hockey player from Saskatchewan, do you not think of Ryan Getzlaff?
Yeah.
Just a big old fucking farm boy that'll fight anyone, sick hands, a great teammate with a
great
dry
passer,
sense of humor.
a giver. Just a giver.
Like the whole friggin' province, the best people in Canada. And this guy's no different because as much as he joked around, and he had a great demeanor about himself. He always, he'd have the flip-flops on, super laid-back guy off the ice, chirping everyone, funny guy.
Oh, yeah.
Dry sense of humor, like I just said. But then the game would start, and it was just the switch flipped. And this dude was so hard to play against. And I mentioned in a tweet that I sent right after he announced his retirement that the 08-09 the 09 playoffs. I'll tell you, this guy, I've said this before. There's 13 games. We beat the President's Trophy San Jose Sharks in 6 games, and then we lost to a goal with 2 minutes to go in Game 7 to the Detroit Red Wings. 13 games. He had close to 25 points, something like that. He was playing 28 minutes a game, and he was the best player in the league at that point, I thought. And the Penguins went on to win the Stanley Cup and beat the Wings, and part of it was probably the reason the Getzlaf wore the Wings down in the 7-game series they had in the second round against us. So Stanley Cup, 2 Olympic golds, World Junior, World Cup. I think he might have got a World Championship, possibly too. But just he won everywhere he went. And seeing Perry talk about him really kind of hit home for me because those guys were attached at the hip the whole way. And I think Perry will always think of himself and his own career as not being the same without Ryan Getzlaff.
So you rattled off all the big boys. So he ended up winning under 18 gold medal at the World Championship. I played
everywhere he went.
So I played with him. I got to play with him at that level, and I got to see because I think I'm pretty sure he was invited to the summer one, and it was cool because I got to experience playing with this guy who excelled in a period of time and eventually went off to have a Hall of Fame career, and I got to see a springboard of that, and I got the benefit from it. So I don't know if he was cut or was not invited to the summer camp for Team Canada. I'm pretty sure he was cut. He went back that next year. Yeah, whoopsie daisy. Fuck, we would have won it in the semifinals if he would have been on our team. We were like, maybe that was like a kind of like a, what do you call those, like restrictors?
They felt bad.
Yeah, they felt bad. Like, hey, if we send this guy, fucking, we might as well just give you guys the gold. But he had a huge year with the Calgary Hitmen that next year. I think he led their team in scoring. They ended up getting beat out after the first round. And if you were beat out in the first round, you got to go to the World Championship. So we ended up picking this guy up. And he ended up being our team MVP, and he was a big reason why. And when you played in that World Championship one, that's when you saw the big boys from the other country. We were playing against Russia, who had Ovechkin. Like, this was a fucking...
And Malkin, right?
I'm pretty sure Malkin was on the team, but he just wasn't as dominant as what Ovi was at that time. And like, Ovi was also playing World Junior, so he shouldn't even fucking been playing. But just to see him like explode and take over the way he did, like, it was no surprise that he ended up getting drafted in the first round that year. I thought he was going to go higher after that type of performance that he had, but then just that little development that he got in the American League as well after that, and it just like seemed like he just kind of took off and he never really stopped. And he got to the league running, and as you said, like those years early on of his sheer dominance, especially as a fairly young guy in the league, it just kind of catapulted him to this like insanely successful career. And I mean, fuck, I don't think we win that World Championship if it's not for him. And I got to experience playing with him and his greatness. And I fully agree with you, RA. I think a Hall of Fame career. And then you said the only other guy that you could think of is Solani. I think of Niedermeyer as well, kind of in that Ducks group. Maybe he didn't spend as much time there. He was drafted by the Devils, but I get what you're saying. But as far as like longevity there and the impact, like fucking Timu said he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
And he also he had the chance. He could have gone somewhere else at the deadline last year, or maybe even this year. And, I think he wanted to be a Duck his whole career, and his family's got 1 million kids, and he's a family man. Didn't want to go anywhere. And I mean, I don't know. I think of Getzlaf, and maybe just because of the way he played, I think of Mark Messier, and maybe because they're both bald. But I
don't shame.
That is
not
sure.
at all, not at all. But do you know what I mean? Little Mark Messier and Ryan Getzlaf.
That's
do anything
great
to
comp.
win a rough and tough bastard and silky smooth mitt. So congrats on an unbelievable run. And he is 100% down for a sandbagger. So I'd love to kick his ass on the golf course.
Yeah.
One other stat, too. Spittin' Chiclets alumni as well. We had him on episode 265 back in 2020.
He was a great interview, too.
Right after the pandemic started. That was one of our early fucking quarantine interviews. So congrats, Getzy, on a great career, and I can't wait to see you again. He's not interested in coaching. He said that it would be a cool experience to be part of building a team, however, so probably greasing the skids for a front office job.
I will say I did play with him, too, when he had the frosted tips, like the early day Getzlaf. Yeah, and then obviously we know what happened, but I will say, man, maybe a component as to why he didn't go as high in the first round as I thought, where maybe some of those scouts were just not impressed with those highlighted tips.